Okay, this YouTube video will show you the process of solving equations with fractions. One thing to remember about fractions is you can see here that I have a negative 1/3 x, and what I need to do is rewrite this denominator so it'll have it's missing the 5, so I need to write it with the 5. So the idea would be to take 1/3. We need to multiply it by the 5 on the bottom, and then we have to also do it to the top. So that negative 1/3 x would end up being a negative 5 over 15x. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with this first equation all the way through, is rewrite each one of these terms with a denominator of 15. Okay, let me erase this real quick, and we'll get off on our road. Okay, so we've got negative 1 over 3. You can see the denominator of 3 is missing the 5 that's over here. And then we've got the x that goes with it. Now the 2 is a little bit different. The 2, even though it's a whole number, it can be written as a rational number by using 1 on the bottom. And now that 1 is missing the 5 and the 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. So we want to multiply this one by 15 on the bottom and 15 on the top. And now let's do the right-hand side. I've got a negative 2 over 5. The 5 is missing the 3. So I'll do it to the top and the bottom. And then there's my x. And now the negative 5/3 is missing the 5. So I'll do it to the top and bottom both. So now let's go ahead and simplify our factors. So we got a negative 5 over 15x minus 30 over 15. Do you see how that still simplifies to a negative 2? So I'm not changing the value of the numbers, I'm just changing the way they look. 2 times 3, that'll be a negative 6 over 15 x. And then I have a negative 25 over 15. Okay, now one thing to remember about what we're trying to do here is once we get all these denominators together, the idea is that I want to clear my denominator. So I can put parentheses around this side, and I can multiply the 15 to there and the 15 to there. And what I get is a negative 5 times 15 over 15, and then I get the x. That will happen to this term, and I'll also do it to the right-hand side. But you know that 15 over 15 is what? It simplifies to 1. So the idea is that I'll multiply the left-hand side by 15 and the right-hand side by 15. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other, so I have to do it to both sides. And then what happens is the denominator vanishes and it turns back to just nice integer math. So that's the process that I'm trying to show you here. So always keep that in mind as you do fractions, and it'll make it a lot easier for you. This pretty much works on everything. Let me get my black pen back. So you'll know that again the denominators are gone. So now all I need to focus on is just the numerators. So I get 5x minus 30 equals a negative 6x minus 25. Now I want that to go to 0 on the right hand side. I want that to go to 0 on the left hand side. So we take the opposite to each side. It should be an x, not a 5. And if I do it here, I have to keep the balance, so I have to do it here. If I've done it there, I have to keep the balance by doing it over here. Now my final equation is a negative 5 plus 6 gives me 1x. And then a negative 25 plus 30 will give me a positive 5. So my solution is x equals 5. So the ideas that you need to remember about this is the multiplication by using 1, and then also the idea of finding that common denominator. And once you find the common denominator and you have the same denominator on everything, then what you end up getting is just the equation, just like I have here, where all I have to deal with is just the numerators. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next problem. Okay, for our next problem, what we're doing is we've got to take the term that's right here and distribute it to everything in the parentheses. That's going to give us a fraction here and here, and then we have to find a common denominator and then basically repeat the process from the last equation that we solved. So remember, whatever's on the outside next to these parentheses is multiplied to everything on the inside. So negative 4 times negative 2 will give me 8x over 3. A negative 4/3 times 1 will be a negative 4/3. And then nothing happens to the 12 yet because it's not inside the parentheses. It just comes forward. Now 4 times 2x will give me the 8x. 4 times 5 will give me 20. And then again, the negative 4 is not inside the parentheses, so it just comes forward. Now just like on the last problem, these numbers that are whole numbers, you change the denominator and write them over 1, and it doesn't change them because anything divided by 1 is just that anything. Same, it's like the identity property of division for the number 1. So now you see that these denominators here are 1, they're missing the 3. So all these terms right here have to be multiplied by 3 over 3. So I'll go 8x. I don't have to do anything with that one there. It already has the 3. A negative 4/3 already has the 3, but the 12 doesn't. So I take 12 over 1 times it by 3 over 3 equals, the 8 is missing the 3, so I have to take the 8x over 1 and times it by 3 over 3 plus the 20 over 1 times it by 3 over 3, and then the negative 4 over 1 times it by 3 over 3. So now you can see that along these bottoms that all my denominators are going to be 3, aren't they? Now just like on the last problem, when I get the denominators all the same, they're going to drop out and I don't need to worry about them. So now that they're all the same, I'm going to skip that step of multiplying everything by 3 on top and canceling the denominators. I know they're going to cancel, so I'm just going to go forward with my problem and just simplify the numerators. So I'm just writing down my numerators. That should be 24. 8 times 3 is 24. That's a mistake that I just about made there. So that's 24x. That gives me a positive 60. And then that gives me a negative 12. Now I want to collect like terms, so we get 8x. Negative 4 plus 36 is a plus 32. Then the 24x comes forward. And then 60 minus 12 will give me a positive 48. So just like before, we have a constant, we have a variable term and a number, a variable term and a number. I want 0 here. I want 0 here, so I will subtract 32. I will subtract 24. And if I do it to this side, I have to do it to the other side. So there's 24x. Now the negative 32, I have to do it to the other side as well. So I keep my equation balanced. You see how I've done the same thing to each side? So those cancel to 0. 8 minus 24 is 16x. And it's negative equals 16. So to solve for x, I divide each side by negative 16. So now I get x equals a negative 1. So they're solving equations with fractions. I've done one simple problem, one hard problem. The idea is that you want to distribute. You want to get a common denominator, and once you get the common denominator, you cancel the denominator out, then go through and simplify all your numerators. You're going to end up with a nice easy equation just like we do here, and then just reverse addition and subtraction, then reverse multiplication or division, and you end up with your solution. So remember, happy homework. Make sure you do it every night when it's given, and things will go better for you in class. And thanks for watching. We'll see you later.